This is Eric Muathe at Muathe.com. As we come to the end of the first trading week for 2021, a couple of minutes to go before the market closes, we are looking at markets trading essentially at all-time highs. As we see the Nasdaq, especially for today, pressing all-time intraday highs, and today alone as a historic day because we also saw Bitcoin come very close to touching 42,000. So a historic day, whichever way you slice it. Now, let me give you some perspective. Now, this is the Dow's monthly chart, and let's go back to the lows of early 2009 here. We can say that the Dow came close to 6,500, I believe, was the low. So it's taken the Dow 11 years to grind its way all the way to 31,000. Now keep that number in mind. 11 years to go from here to the current highs there. Now compare this with Bitcoin. We can see here that at some point early this year, or excuse me, early last year, it was trading, let's call it in the 6.5 area, and it's taken it 11 months. Essentially, a sharp, strong push within 11 months, coming close to 42,000. Honestly and frankly, we don't need to be reminded that this is what we call a delusional move, that at some point, it could be in the next 2 minutes, next 2 days, next 2 months, next 2 years. But at some point, this is going to have to correct. And correct aggressively. It is important to note, if you take a look at price, not percentage gain, but this move in terms of price has been outdone by the recent move. So even in terms of distance covered, it's gonna need a major rest because it's never had such a big move, relatively speaking, in terms of a price performance. And yet, people are still buying this thing here. And maybe they might even buy it higher. Who knows? I'm not saying I know where the market is going to top. Honestly, I have no idea, zero idea. But what I do know is there are moments when the market becomes very delusional. And this crypto move is just a perfect example of such delusion. And the funny thing is, it keeps happening over and over again throughout the years. In fact, going back centuries. Speaking of going back centuries, this is a great read. This book right here, Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. I highly recommend this for perspective. And the book is by Charles Mackay. Consider also what the leadership stocks are doing. Here's a stock that I mentioned as a breakout candidate for paid subscribers in early December, right there. Again, remember, early December. We are in the first week of January. Again, as you can see, mentioned here on my website, September 7th, when the stock was getting ready to potentially break out above 4.32. That was the buy point. It was trading at 4.24. So 4.32 was the buy point. Since then, it has more than doubled. 4.32 was the breakout here. Now it's trading, gone as high as 9.3. And this is just one of many hundreds of stocks that have done this. What is this telling us about the general market? Here's another one that was mentioned just 2 weeks ago, somewhere here. And the stock is EQOS. It was a paid client breakout alert. So barely 2 weeks ago, the stock was trading at 11.24 after breaking out above 10.78. This was December 22nd. And today is January the 8th. And we can see that essentially it has doubled in price in barely 2 weeks. As I said, this is just one of countless number of names that have been moving with powerful intent. The question becomes, is this sustainable? Well, I guess time will tell. But clearly, one needs to remain vigilant based on the sheer size of recent moves. And again, without knowing what the future brings in terms of where the market finally might see some ceiling, but at some point these types of move are unsustainable. So at some point, it might be again soon, or it might be months, years from now, this is gonna become very relevant. In one way, we can take advantage of the market's irrational behavior by playing breakouts for now, but we also have to be very careful not to be caught holding on to any breakout that fails. Stay away from failed breakouts. Yes, we can still play breakouts because the market is rewarding breakouts. As you can see, breakout alert sent here, market's in a good mood. Breakout alert sent here, market's in a good mood. The one thing we don't want to do is hold on to failed breakouts at any cost, because once, if and when the market's mood changes, you're gonna see some fantastic sell-offs, and you don't want to be caught up in the washout. Eric Muathe with Muathe.com. Love light, light love. Namaste.